Effortlessly get lean, muscular, and sexy fast. Now, before I go over this secret protocol, I need you to stop fucking lying to yourself, okay? You clicked on this video because you wanted to build a more attractive body, because you know that building the aesthetic body will increase your dating success. You wouldn't have clicked on this video, how to build an aesthetic, how to build an attractive body, whatever I decide to title this video, if the goal wasn't to increase your dating success. And if you're wondering, will building the aesthetic body increase your dating success? It absolutely will. This is the body type women are the most biologically attracted to. So stop lying to yourself saying, oh, I'm doing this for yourself, because you're not. Okay? You clicked on this video because you wanted to be more attractive to girls. And there's nothing wrong with that. Own it, bro. It's in your biological nature to want to be more desired by women. But without further ado, let's get straight to the video. So those of you that started your fitness journey on Reddit are going to like this. So I used to go on this one subreddit when I was brand new to the gym. It was called r/bulk or cut. And basically like a bunch of beginners go on here and they post their physique asking like, hey, should I bulk? Should I cut? Should I do a body recomp? Just like completely confused and not knowing what to do. And I was one of those guys, right? But I would post my physique on there like 5 times a day. And everyone on that subreddit would get so annoyed. Like, all right, we've told you already, like, do a fucking bulk. But I was like, are you sure, guys? Like, I don't know if I should do a bulk or not. Like, I don't want to get fat. They were like, dude, you need to bulk. You have no muscle. So I took their advice and I did a bulk. But also, if you know anything about like the fitness, related subreddits, they all kind of tell you to do like these really like basic cookie cutter programs like Strong Lifts 5x5, 5-3-1, starting strength, Sons, GZCLP, Gray Skull LP. Like I've ran just about all the programs and they're all very like cookie cutter basic programs that pretty much only focus on the squat, bench, deadlift, maybe like an overhead press and a barbell row thrown in on some of those programs. And they really only have you focus on like the 3 to 5 rep range, because a lot of these guys on Reddit are a big proponent of, oh, just get brutally strong, just focus on progressive overload and you'll build a very aesthetic body. But that's not the case, as you can see. If I were to tell you I was 4 years in the gym when I took this photo, what would you say? How would that make you feel? Right? When you're only focusing on the squat, bench, deadlift, you're not going to build an aesthetic body. You're neglecting all the important muscles that make the aesthetic body, right? Because 2/3 of your volume are literally going to the lower body. And then if you're just doing flat bench, yeah, you'll build a respectable chest, but you're mainly just going to be hitting the lower chest. So you're going to have like a droopy, saggy chest, wide hips, big legs, and a fat ass. Like you're going to look like a woman. You're not going to have the aesthetic body. Like your hips are going to be wider than your clavicles. It's not the move, bro. Plus like 3 to 5 reps, that's not very conducive for hypertrophy. But I didn't know better. And plus you pair that with like the dirty bulks I was doing at the time. Horrible recipe for building an aesthetic body. But I didn't know better. And eventually I came to my senses. I realized like what the people on Reddit actually look like. And if you don't know what a Redditor looks like, just do a quick Google search, type in like Reddit moderator on Google Images, and you'll see exactly what they look like. And then you're going to be like, why did you take advice from people that look like that? Well, bro, I didn't know that people on Reddit were basement dwellers that live in their mom's basement. So now I know, I learned from my mistakes, and now I have a pretty decent looking physique. And I'm going to break down exactly how you can achieve a body similar to mine, so you can increase your dating success and overall confidence. And by the way, if you guys don't know who I am, my name's Cristiano. I help men improve their self-image, whether that's through their physique, facial aesthetics, style, finding the right haircut, maximizing their self-image so they can have a better dating life or just feel more confident in their own skin. So if you want to see more videos like this in your feed, just subscribe and turn the bell on, because sometimes the algorithm doesn't always push these kinds of videos on the homepage. So just turn on the bell, subscribe, and you'll get more educational content like this. Now, what are we not going to do? Well, before we go over what we are going to do, I need to make it clear, like we're not going to do powerlifting. Like I told you, I followed all these like basic cookie cutter programs that really just focus on the squat, bench, deadlift, and they're not conducive for hypertrophy. Are the squat, bench, deadlift bad exercises? Absolutely not. They're some of the best exercises you can do. But when that's what your program is centered around, just those 3 exercises, you're not setting yourself up to build an aesthetic body. You're neglecting a lot of the important muscles. Plus, when you are mainly just focused on increasing your 1 rep max, yeah, you're progressively overloading, but you're not progressively overloading in the rep ranges that are conducive for hypertrophy. So we need to make sure that we're actually training the right muscles and then also training in rep ranges that are going to elicit maximum muscle growth. 2, we're not going to do science-based lifting. Now, I'm not against science-based lifting. The problem with it is the information on like TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're watching this content, it's changing every other week. Like every other week, you'll hear someone say, don't do hammer curls, or don't do bulking, or don't do cutting, or don't do this rep range. Like they're always saying, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. And it's like, they're just trying to get more views because most of these guys make a living off of social media. So they always have to keep the content fresh. And in the reality, they're just like saying all this stuff to get more engagement on their posts so they can make more money off you. The truth is what they're saying true? Maybe some of it is true. But when you're constantly switching your routine every other week, you're lacking consistency. And at the end of the day, consistency is what's going to drive the most amount of progress. Like it doesn't matter how shitty your routine is. You'll make progress following it versus the guy who's just bouncing exercises and workout routines every other week. So focus more on being consistent rather than trying to optimize every other week, because trying to optimize every other week actually isn't optimal. What's optimal is sticking to a game plan. And then lastly, we're not going to do a bulk, or at least we're not going to do like a dirty bulk. Now, there's a right way to go about bulking and there's a wrong way to go about bulking. And I'll link a video that I posted in the past, a full like 30-minute guide on how to actually do a bulk the right way. But if possible, we want to avoid bulking in general, even if you do it the right way, because part of having the aesthetic body is minimizing body fat. And obviously when you bulk, no matter how clean you do it, you're going to pack on body fat. So without further ado, the first thing we need to go over is the male and female gaze. So this is where a lot of guys go wrong. This is what prevents a lot of guys from ever building the aesthetic body, because they don't understand that men and women are attracted to different things. I think it's so sad when I hear guys say things like, oh, I've been going to the gym for 2 years now and I've only gotten the attention from other guys, or, oh, women don't like muscles. They don't like muscles at all. Only men do. When that's not the case. The reason a lot of guys believe this is either A, they got kind of like this bodybuilder look, which obviously you guys aren't the size of Dorian Yates, but maybe you have like the same proportions, like that X frame, or you bulked up and got super, super fat, like this like power lifter build, right? The problem with that is do these guys have respectable physiques and strength? Absolutely. But women aren't attracted to this, right? This caters more towards the male gaze. And I don't mean like men are literally like attracted to you. I just mean they'll respect you more and say things like, oh, nice muscles, bro. Hey, bro, looking swole. Hey, man, what's your workout routine? I'm trying to look like you. You know what I mean? But the body type that women are actually the most attracted to is this, kind of like what Zac Efron looks like in Baywatch, right? Broad shoulders, wide lats, low body fat percentage, slim waist, just having that V-taper aesthetic. This is the body type women are the most attracted to. Like there's a reason in all the popular movies, most of the actors have this body type. It's because this is what women are the most biologically attracted to. It's the same thing when you see a woman with the hourglass figure. You can't help but look because it's in your biological nature to look at her, right? So if you want to cater more towards the female gaze, you need to build a body similar to Zac Efron, where you have broad shoulders and a slim waist, because that is what creates the V-taper. So let's go over how to actually like achieve that body type. So first things first, if you haven't caught on by now, lean is law. You need to be lean. 8 to 10% body fat is obviously the sweet spot. That's about where I'm at right here, because this is when you're going to have like a shredded six pack. You're going to have like the shark gills, the V-cut abs, crazy vascularity, like muscle separations, and of course like peak facial aesthetics, right? But this isn't the most sustainable look year round. So I want to say like a good range is 8 to 12% body fat. And during those fall and winter months, you can get to about 15% like I am right here. So I'm not like crazy shredded here, but I'm still decently lean. Like I have a 4-pack, I got the vascularity, I got visible muscle separations, but I'm not like crazy diced. I wouldn't get fluffier than this, and I would only stay in this range during the fall and winter, because it's not like you're taking your shirt off much, but you still have like the aesthetic body. And what's neat about this is since you're eating a little more, your muscles are a lot fuller. you're stronger in the gym. And when you throw clothes on, you actually look fucking jacked. Like when you have like a nice sweater on or a fitted t-shirt, like you'll definitely get women noticing you and maybe even like grabbing your arms if you're like on a date with them or going out to like a bar or whatever. But overall, you know, if you want to maximize aesthetics, this is like peak aesthetics. This is great for the spring and summer. But if you want like a lean aesthetic body that you can maintain year round, that's something kind of like in between this, I would go for something like this. I'm about 12% right here. This is really easy to maintain year round. Like you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to like go crazy. You're not going to like lose strength. Your hormones aren't going to go down. Like this is really, really easy to maintain year round. So this is what most of you guys should strive for. But if you want peak aesthetics, obviously go for this right here. And then if it's like the fall or winter and you want to just enjoy life a little more, get to here. Now, as far as like maximizing muscle growth and minimizing bloat so you can one, stay lean, but also build muscle in the process, is we got to cut out all the junk food, all of it. So a big problem I used to make that prevented me from actually like getting lean like I was here was my diet wasn't right. Like I would do these crazy cuts, lose 20 pounds, but I still looked soft. I still looked bloated. And it was because I was eating like this, bro. Sure, I was getting my chicken and rice in, but I was missing out on a lot of important like micronutrients and vitamins and minerals that you would get eating like this. So when you're eating like seed oils, fast food, or even worse, like these protein bars, protein shakes, yeah, sure, it fits your macros, it fits your calories, but you're missing out on important micronutrients and you're not going to be optimizing muscle growth and you're going to be super bloated and inflamed. And that's what would happen to me. I would lose 20 pounds, but I still looked really, really soft. My face wasn't very angular and it was frustrating because I wanted to look chiseled. So the trick is you want to eat single ingredient whole food. You can have like a cheat meal once a week. I do that, but sticking to foods like primarily eggs, beef, and steak, like that should be like the foundation to your diet. These foods are very rich in vitamins and minerals like vitamin B12, iron, zinc, and this is going to optimize your hormone profile. It's going to boost your metabolism, which is going to allow you to eat more food on your cut, but it's also going to allow you to build more muscle. A lot of guys don't think they can build muscle on a cut, but you absolutely can. The reason they don't believe this is because you guys are just pounding protein shakes or going to get fast food every other day when that's not the way you want to go about it, right? When you eat like this, single ingredient whole foods, you're going to literally think you're on steroids because of how fast you're packing on muscle and strength despite being in a calorie deficit. But also when you transition into a body recomp, that's when things really get real. Like you're going to make really, really fast gains. So limit this kind of food as much as possible. I'd follow like a 90-10 split. And a lot of people say 80-20, but I think that's too lenient. 90-10 is the way to go. And you'll absolutely like have no problem staying shredded year round while building muscle and getting stronger in the gym. And you'll be less bloated, right? These foods leave you super inflamed and bloated. You're not going to be bloated eating like this. Now, as far as building the aesthetic body, this is one of the most important slides because there's certain muscles that make you more aesthetic than others, right? Because I told you, I was stuck following a lot of these like cookie cutter programs like Strongless 5x5, 5-3-1. And did those programs get me strong? Did they build me muscle? Yeah, but they didn't help me build muscle in the right areas, right? When you're mainly focusing on lower body exercises like the squat and deadlift, like that was 2/3 of my training volume. You're going to get really big legs and a fat ass, which probably isn't ideal if you're trying to attract women, right? Still important muscles, but not the most important, right? So like I said, we need to focus on building the V-taper aesthetic. So the V-taper aesthetic is where you literally, they call it the Dorito body. So basically if you flip a Dorito upside down, it's an upside down triangle where basically your body tapers down. Like you have a broad shoulder, broad upper body, and a slim waist. And the way you achieve that is specifically prioritizing the shoulders and the lats. So the lats are this part of your back right here. And that's what really gives your torso width. So when it comes to the delts, you can hit the front delts, but they're not the most important because they're going to get hit pretty hard whenever you do any of like your chest pressing exercises and even some of your rowing exercises. We want to specifically prioritize the lateral and rear delts with a lot of isolation work because those muscles don't necessarily get hit indirectly a lot. And this is what's really going to give your shoulders that capped 3D look and just make them look like fucking bowling balls. So I would do a lot of like face pulls and lateral raises. And another exercise I really like that I don't see a lot of guys do is the upright row. So do exercises like that and you'll get some really, really aesthetically pleasing shoulders. And as far as lats go, the only exercise I do is the weighted chin up. This is the best exercise you can do. Really any weighted pull up, but the weighted chin up is my favorite because it also hits the biceps. And I mean, who doesn't want bigger biceps? You're kind of killing two birds with one stone. But like if you can rep the body weight of like a miniature human being, or even just like rep half your body weight on weighted chin-ups or any weighted pull-up variation, you're going to have a very wide back. Like you're going to have a very respectable physique. And then we want to hit the upper chest. The upper chest is very important. And a lot of guys neglect it. Like I told you, when I'd follow all these powerlifting programs, they really only focused on the flat bench, which great exercise, but it mainly only hits the lower chest. We don't want a droopy and saggy upper chest. So hitting the upper chest will make your chest more pronounced, especially when you wear like a V-neck or like a polo or a button down. Like your upper chest will pop out. And this is what makes you look like really, really like attractive, more masculine, more aesthetic. Because a lot of guys, one, are lacking in that department, but two, it just makes you look better. Next is and when it comes to upper chest, I forgot to say this. Make sure 2/3 of your training volume when it comes to chest is upper chest work. Like still do lower chest work like dips or bench press, whatever you want to do, but make sure the majority of your work is targeting the upper chest. That way your upper chest can grow at a faster rate than your lower chest, and you'll get some really, really nice gains from that. And then next is the biceps. So everyone tells you to focus on the triceps, triceps make 2/3 of the arms, which that's true. That will get you bigger arms. But if you want more aesthetically pleasing arms, you want to focus more on the biceps. Because like I said, it's not about just mindlessly packing on as much mass as possible. It's about packing on mass in all the right areas to create that aesthetic body. And the biceps are far more important. Like this is the first muscle girls notice on a guy, right? If you watch any TikTok street interview where they like ask the girls like, hey, what's the most attractive muscle on a guy? Obviously, most of them say abs, but the other muscle group they say is the biceps. And obviously, you're not just always walking around without your shirt on. So the first muscle they notice on you is the biceps. And then it would probably be like the shoulders. So prioritize the biceps. That's why I recommend you do a weighted chin up, because that'll get you some pretty beefy biceps. But then also do like some curls. My favorite kind of curl is the preacher curl. I think that's the best curl you can do. But just find a curl variation you like and get as strong as possible at it. Next is going to be the abs. This goes without saying, you know that girls like abs. The trick with abs is obviously one, getting to about 12% body fat, because that's when your six pack will show. And then two, just training them. I would just mainly focus on the lower portion. You don't need to do like crunches or sit-ups. You can if you want, but doing like a leg raise is going to be more important, because your upper abs get hit pretty indirectly from a lot of these exercises, just from when you breathe and brace, but your lower abs get neglected. So do some type of leg raise. Progress it as much as possible, like possibly like work up to doing like a 20-pound dumbbell in between your legs, and that will really sculpt like those V cuts and really get you those lower abs. And then lastly are the traps in your neck. So this is what really makes your physique more masculine. So when you have like the broad upper chest and big traps and necks, it just makes you look like a man, and you look really, really good in clothes too when you build up those muscle groups. And a really good way to hit the traps and necks is one, doing shrugs, but two, like I said, on the shoulders, I like upright rows. Upright rows not only hit the shoulders, but they really beef up your traps, and they just make you look more aesthetic, more masculine, more attractive. So don't neglect your traps. Now, as far as getting jacked as fuck, let's go over like the workouts themselves. So obviously, you need to prioritize the right muscle groups. But as far as like structuring your workouts, I find that minimalism always wins. Now, I told you I followed all these like really basic cookie cutter minimalistic programs from Reddit in the past. But the difference between what I do now and then is I'm doing minimalistic routines, just focused on the right muscles, right? Minimalism got me really, really strong. It just didn't get me strong in the right exercises or muscle groups. So we still want to make the majority of our exercises focused on compound lifts, because compound lifts are going to build you the most muscle. They're the easiest to get strong at, and they hit multiple muscle groups, and you can go the heaviest on them. But we don't want to neglect isolation work. That was a big mistake I made. I wasn't really doing much isolation work, because a lot of these guys on Reddit, they'll tell you crazy shit like, oh, you don't need to train arms because they get indirectly hit from barbell rows and bench press. That's a load of bullshit, guys. No one built big arms just doing the bench press or just doing barbell rows. If you want respectable arms, you need to do curls. You need to do tricep push downs. You need to isolate your arms. But doing things like weighted chin-ups and weighted dips, great way to indirectly hit your arms through compound lifts. That's why Those are like the foundation to my workout routine. So don't neglect your isolation work, but make the majority of your training volume around compound lifts. Some of my favorites right here. The weighted chin up does a phenomenal job of hitting the lats and the biceps. Weighted dips does a really good job of hitting the front delts. It hits the lower chest, doesn't do the best job of hitting the upper chest, and it still hits the triceps. I really like RDLs for the lower body because it hits the traps indirectly, hits the erectors too, which really gives like you that V-taper aesthetic, but also does a good job of beefing up those hamstrings. And then, like I said, my favorite bicep exercise is the preacher curl. So figure out what exercises you like that you can get brutally strong at, and then just focus on getting as strong as possible on a weekly basis in that like 5 to 10 rep range. And then, you want to get stronger on a weekly basis, and then you want to train hard as fuck. You got to train hard. Like, you need to go to failure on most of your exercises. I'd say for like your main compound lifts, don't necessarily go to failure, but like leave a rep in the tank. But like on your isolation work, like lateral raises, bicep curls, chest flies, stuff like that, like you need to be pushing failure on that because that's what's going to drive the most growth. But stuff like this, like your compounds, you can leave a rep in the tank or even go to 0 RIR, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend going to failure all the time on these exercises because that might impede your recovery and you might not build as much muscle as fast because you're not recovering, which is going to prevent you from adding strength. But that's how you need to train. Pretty straightforward. Follow a minimalistic routine that's centered around compound lifts that hit the aesthetic muscle groups. You still need to train every muscle group. Let me make that clear. But the center of your routine needs to be the aesthetic muscles. But that's it, guys. The key takeaways. Don't lie to yourself. You want to attract more girls. That's why you clicked on this video. There's nothing wrong with that. It's in your biological nature to want to feel more desired. And achieving the aesthetic body will absolutely do a good job at that. Also, you need to understand the male versus the female gaze. Men and women are attracted to different things. It's not about just mindlessly packing on as much size as humanly possible. Will that gain you the respect of other men? Yeah, it will, but it's not necessarily going to attract all the girls. The key to, attracting women is having a lean and muscular physique that has the V taper, right? But what's neat about that is even though it caters towards the female gaze, it still gains you the respect of other men because you still have a respectable physique. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Like, if you want to have the best physique, you need to cater towards the female gaze because it still caters towards the male gaze. And then next is you need to be lean, right? You can prioritize all these muscle groups, and if you're not lean enough, you're not going to have the V taper, you're not going to have abs, you're not going to have muscle separation, and ultimately you won't be catering towards the female gaze. So make sure you get to at least 12% body fat, ideally lower, but 12% body fat is the standard. And then lastly, you need to prioritize the aesthetic muscles, right? Remember, what I did wrong was I was focusing on the wrong muscle groups for the longest time, which is why I had this like really weird, like chubby looking build. I was doing dirty bulks and not prioritizing the muscles that actually build the aesthetic body. So make sure you're actually hitting the muscles like the shoulders, the back, the upper chest, the biceps, abs, traps, neck, so you can actually build that V-taper physique. But that's it for the video, guys. If you want my personal one-on-one help when it comes to maximizing your self-image, not just your physique, but your overall attractiveness, so you can not only feel more confident, but increase your dating success, I do offer one-on-one coaching where I will personally work with you to figure out, what clothes look best on you, what haircut suits your face shape, what exercises we need to do to build an aesthetic body personally for you, everything we need to do to maximize your physical attractiveness so you can go up 4 to 5 points in looks. Because at the end of the day, not only will becoming more attractive increase your dating success, but it's going to make you feel more confident in yourself. Like, there's no better feeling than waking up first thing in the morning and being proud of what you see in the mirror each morning. I mean, that pretty much dictates how you're going to go about the rest of your day. And, when I looked like this, man, I wasn't, attracting women. I didn't feel confident in myself. I didn't carry myself well. But now looking like this, man, I'm just so much more confident. I speak what's on my mind. I'm not afraid of what other people think. And my life is just totally different. So if you're looking to maximize all areas of your life and become as well-rounded as possible, and you want to eliminate all the guesswork, you just want to work with someone who's actually like been in your shoes, just click the first link in the description of this video. We can book a call to see if you're a good fit for my one-on-one coaching. If so, we'll rock and roll, man. We'll get you looking right in the next 4 to 6 months. But with all that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and there will be more videos like this to come. But with all that said, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.